everyone, it's Nadia from YARNutopia. Today we're making this beautiful Woven Dreams baby blanket. This is so fabulous. We are using a brand new yarn. I've never used this before, and we are working with front post double crochets, back post double crochets, and making this border in fabulous cross stitches with double crochets. And we are learning the reverse single crochet as well on this border. It looks so beautiful. It's a nice clean edge, and it's just a lot of fun to make. So I'll get into the supplies we need for this blanket. I'll do some measuring and answer some frequently asked questions, and then we'll get into making this beautiful piece. So the supplies you're going to need, you are going to need 2 colors of yarn. This new yarn is by Red Heart Yarns. It's called Soft Essentials, and I'm using 2 different colors. We're using Soft Essentials Stripes for one of the colors, and then Soft Essentials for the other color. So the stripes yarn, the color specifically I'm using is Jungle Stripe, and that is this variegated yarn here. I don't actually have a whole skein left. I used all of the yarn. So you can see here, this is one of the blocks that we're going to make, and it has a nice variation of colors just moving into the next, and it's not a very gradual color change, so it gives a nice stripe look. It's really beautiful. And then the other color we are using, this regular Soft Essentials yarn, the color is Minty, and it's this nice mint green color. So that is not variegated yarn, that is just a plain color. So you're going to need 2 colors for this blanket. If you want to, you can just do it all in one solid color, and that's totally fine. The amount we are going to need is 4 skeins of each color, so 8 skeins of yarn total, and I used all of it. I have just this much left of one color and just this much left of the other color, so not a whole lot left over. Okay, this whole project takes 964 yards of yarn total. Okay, this yarn specifically is a bulky yarn. It is a size 5, so you're going to need a thicker type of yarn. And I actually I was feeling this yarn, and it feels like a worsted weight yarn. It is on the thinner end, I guess, of a bulky yarn, but it is super heavy, so that is why it is considered a bulky yarn, and it is just beautiful. I love it so much. It is so soft. Any baby is just gonna absolutely fall in love with this yarn. So this is the type of yarn we're using. Like I said, you're going to need 964 yards total. The stripes yarn is 110 yards each skein, so I got 4 of these. And then this yarn here, the regular Soft Essentials in Minty, is 131 yards, and I got 4 of these, and I used all of it. So those are the 2 yarns we are using in this project today, Red Heart Yarns Soft Essentials. And let's see here, measurements, let's get into that next, but we're going to use a J size hook today, which is 6mm. This hook that I have here is actually hand carved wood, and the handle is so nice and so comfortable to use. I've been using these a lot in my videos lately. They are just so fabulous, ergonomic, and hand carved, and just really comfortable on the hand and curved really nicely. These hooks are fixed in the handle, and this one specifically is a J hook, which is what we're going to use in this project. That's 6mm, and I'll put the link in the description of this video and also on my website, where you can get hooks like this one, where the nice handle is just easy to work with. The Etsy shop is called Would Be Fancy, and I'll put that link in the description of this video so you can get hooks like this. But here's a regular hook that shows the size we need. J hook, it should say 6mm. If it's 5.75mm, that's totally cool also. You can even go up to a K size hook, which is 6.5mm. So that's also going to give you the same type of design with this pattern. You're also going to need a scissors and a yarn needle, because we'll cut our yarn and sew in our ends, and these tools will come in handy when we change color and have all those loose ends to cut and sew in. So those are the supplies you're going to need for this project. Now on to measuring. Let me get this all opened up for you. So what we're going to do today is actually make 9 of these little squares. Okay, they are 7 inches each. So 7-inch squares, we're going to make 9 of those. And then we're going to make a nice border on this piece. So let me get this all stretched out here and measure across. So it is 36 inches. I'm not sure if you can see that. 36 inches, which is 92, well, almost 93 centimeters. That is how big this blanket is. A traditional baby blanket is 36 by 36, or you can go up to 40 by 40, and that will be perfect for any baby blanket. If you want to make this bigger, now on to the frequently asked questions. The bigger sizing, all you need to do, obviously, get more yarn, and you can make more of these squares. You could do like a 4 by 4 instead of 3 by 3. You can see 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So 3 by 3. I'm doing a 3 by 3, which is 9 squares. You could do 12 squares, so add 3 more squares to this and make you know, a 4 by 4 or a 3 by 4 or whatever. You can make this however big you want. Then for the outer edge here, I did 10 rows of this crisscross stitching. You can do more rows or less rows depending on how big you want to make your blanket. So that again is up to you, up to your expertise on designing your own blanket, but I'm doing these 10 rows here. You can do more or less just by, it's a repeat pattern, so you just have to repeat the crisscross stitching, and that is basically it. You can make this as big as you want. I have a link on my website for blanket sizes, so if you want to make this more into like an Afghan size or a bedspread size, I can share with you the links to blanket sizes to make it different sizes. I'll have that in the notes section on the written pattern, which incidentally the written pattern is linked in the description of this video, so if you're watching this on YouTube, the link is in the description of this video for this written pattern, as well as all the information you will need for this project, for supplies, where you can get this yarn, where you can get the hooks, where you can find sizing on different sized blankets. All that stuff is in the written pattern, so you can find that on my website, YARNutopia.com, so make sure you look there. And if you don't find your answer, you can always message me on Facebook or comment to this video on YouTube so that I can get your question and I can answer it immediately when I actually get a chance to. I've been getting a lot of messages lately. So there it is. How beautiful. So before we begin, I do have to mention there are those links in the description of this video, like I said, but there's also a link to my Facebook and Instagram. I would absolutely love it if you shared your photos on Facebook and Instagram. If you make this, if you make it bigger, if you make it the same size, exactly the same, using the same colors or different colors, different yarn. Like I said though, for the yarn, you can use any type of yarn for this project. You can use a bulky yarn, which is a size 5. You can use a worsted weight yarn even. I would not recommend a double knitting yarn, but you can use any bulky yarn, Aran yarn, worsted weight yarn, and you'll still get this beautiful design, and just use that J hook, or you can go up to a K size hook, which is a 6.5 millimeters. So that is, it's a really versatile pattern. It's beautiful. And another thing, I have to say a big thank you to my dad, Fuad, Azmat, for taking the time to make this video with us. He is our videographer, editor, and photographer for all of our videos. So make sure you subscribe to our channel here on YouTube, and you can get that update on when we post our next video. And on the nails today, I have to say every single time, because everybody asks me what's on your nails. So this is New York colors, and if you want to get the same color as me, this one is called Prince Street. So I just do my nails here at home. I don't like go and get professionally done, so my nails need to be changed actually, so I'm going to change them out, but this is the color that's on the nails in this video, so you can see that, get it at a drugstore or online somewhere. So now let's just get started and make this beautiful Woven Dreams baby blanket. Alright, let's start out with a slip knot. We're going to start off by making one of the squares. I'm going to start with Minty yarn, and we are going to put the short end over the long end, then fold this down and then pull that through and pull it tight, and then insert the hook into there, pull that tighter, just like that, and now we can start. So let's start out by chaining 23. Now you can chain any multiple of 3 plus 2, so I'm going to chain 21 plus 2, which is 23, and that math is also on the written pattern. So just yarn over and pull through 1, yarn over and pull through 2, here's 3, 4, 5, I'm just going to chain all of them, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and 23. Awesome. So you have a chain like this, and this is how wide our square is going to be. So if you want to make these smaller squares, or if you want to use a different size hook or a different type of yarn, you can chain something that is the size of the square you want to be. So, the square you want to make, sorry. So you can see that this is the width of what the square is going to be, and then we're going to make rows up to equaling the same measurement, and this measurement is about 8 inches, well, about 7.5 inches, okay? So that's how wide I want my squares to be. So what we're going to do is go on to row 1 right away. We are going to double crochet in the fourth chain from the hook. So the loop on the hook doesn't count as a chain, so count 1, 2, 3, and 4. This chain right here, we are going to double crochet in there. So yarn over. You can see the chain looks like this, but what I like to do is turn the chain toward me, and you can see these back ridges here. I'm going to work in those back ridges just to have a nice clean edge here. So yarn over, count your chains, 1, 2, 3, 4. In this chain here, go in, then yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Okay, that is a double crochet. So we're going to double crochet across this chain. So yarn over, go into the next chain, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Okay, yarn over, go into the next chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And just continue doing that all the way across this chain until you have 21 stitches, and you have to count them across. If you want to count back, this stitch way over here, it looks like a chain up 3. You see 1, 2, 3. That is considered a stitch, so that's counted as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 done already. So I'm going to work on just double crocheting across here. At the end of this row, you should have 21 stitches, and I will meet you up for row 2. Alright, so I double crocheted across here. I have 21 stitches in total, so this is what it should look like. So now, going on to row 2, we need to chain up 2, so yarn over and pull through 1 and 2 here, just like that. Turn the work. Now that chain up 2 doesn't count as anything, it's just going to get us the height we need. And now what we're going to do, it says to front post double crochet on the first 3 stitches. So we're going to yarn over, go on this side of the post, just way out here, and go from around it, just like this, around it, just like that, okay? Then we're going to yarn over and pull through around that post, okay? Then yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Okay, just like that. So that kind of hides that chain 2, and that is a front post double crochet. So we had to do that on the first 3 stitches, so that was 1. So yarn over, go out around the next stitch from this side of the post, around it to this side, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops, just like that. Then we're going to front post double crochet on the next. So yarn over, go on this side of it, around it, yarn over and pull through, then yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through these other 2 loops. So we have 3 front post double crochets in a row. Now these next 3 stitches are going to get a back post double crochet on each one of those. So yarn over. Now we're actually going to go behind our work, around this next post, so come to the front and then go back around it to the back. Okay, then yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through 2 loops. That is a back post double crochet. So we're going to do 3 of those in a row. So that was 1, yarn over, go from behind your work around that next stitch, that next post right there, yarn over and pull through, then yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So that's our second one. And this next one here, yarn over, go from the back of the work around that next post, yarn over and pull through around it. There, oops, I lost it. Sorry. Yarn over, go around that post, yarn over, pull through. There we go. Then yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So those are 3 back post double crochets in a row. And now we're just going to repeat what we did. So front post double crochet on the next 3 stitches. So yarn over, going from the front of your work now around the post, then yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. Yarn over, going from the front around the next post, and then front post double crochet around the next post. Then we're going to back post double crochet on the next 3 stitches. So yarn over, come from the behind the work around that next post, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2. Okay, again, back post double crochet on the next, and back post double crochet on the next. So you can see this effect is happening. Awesome. So now we're just going to repeat that all the way across, and when I just have, I think 1, 2, 3 more sections to do, so 9 stitches left here. I'm going to do that, and then we'll go on to row 3. Alright, finishing row 2, what we have to do, since we have these 2 front post double crochets, we want to finish this with, on this stitch right here, a front post double crochet. So yarn over, go around that last post, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2. And yeah, it'll look like a regular double crochet, and that's totally cool. So now we're going to chain up 2, 1 and 2, and basically just repeat row 2. So you turn your work around just like that. Okay, and we are going to front post double crochet on this first stitch here. Okay, and the next 2 stitches, front post double crochet on them. And then we're going to back post double crochet on these next 3 stitches. So the stitches that look like, yeah, these 3 stitches look like front post double crochets, we're going to put back post double crochets on those. And the stitches that look like front post double crochets, we're going to put, or these stitches that look like back post double crochets, we're going to put front post double crochets on those. I hope that made sense. Just repeat row 2. That's it. We just have to repeat row 2 then for rows 3 through 14. Okay, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. And when I finish row 14, we're just going to be repeating row 2 for this whole pattern. So however many rows you want to do. If you want to do more rows and not make these square, if you want to make like rectangles, you can totally do that too. It does not matter at all. But if you want to get the same exact design as me with the tension that we have with this size yarn and this specific crochet hook and everything, I'm going to do 14 rows in total. And it's almost a mindless pattern. You can see here there's these 3 stitches that look like front post stitches, and I'm putting back post double crochets on each one of those, just like that. So then we're going to end this now. Row 3 is going to end with 3 front post double crochets. And for the last double crochet on this row, the last front post double crochet, you can go around this double crochet stitch and that chain 2 right there. So you can go around it all. Just like that. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And then chain up 2 turn your work around. This is what it should look like. Fabulous so far. And we chained up 2 already, and we're going to just repeat row 2. Okay, so I'm just going to do that, and I'm going to finish this until I finish row 14. When I'm finishing row 14, I'll meet you up, and then we'll go on to the next step together. Alright, I'm just finishing row 14 here. So now what we want to do is single crochet around this piece. So once you finish row 14, I'm just going to pull my hook out real quick. So you can see here it is a square shape-ish, sort of. If you want to, you can measure this, so about 17 centimeters, about 7 inches this way, and then measure it also this way. Stretch it out, make sure. Yep, it's about 7 inches, which is about 17 centimeters. So mine is a square. If you need to, you can continue working rows, or you could have ended earlier if yours is a square. Just kind of stretch it out, make sure that it looks like a square shape, just like that. And that's what we have. So now we can go on to single crocheting around this piece. And these are how all your squares are going to be. So now we're going to chain up 1. Okay, turn the work around. Okay, and then we're just going to put 1 single crochet in each stitch. In this first stitch here, just go in, then yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. That is a single crochet. So we're just going to go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Next stitch, single crochet. We're going to single crochet across the top here. That will give us 21 stitches on the top. And then when we turn the corner, we're actually going to put 2 single crochets in the last stitch, and I'll show you how to do that when I get there. But on the side of the square here, working up the rows, we are actually going to put 18 stitches evenly on the side. If you can fit 21 stitches on the side, more power to you, that's awesome. But when I was making these squares, it was quite difficult to kind of squeeze in 21 stitches and make it look natural and pretty. So I am going to do 18 up the side, and I'll show you how to do that right here. We're going to single crochet here, and in this last stitch, you don't have to work anything in that chain up 2. You can see it right there, 1, 2. You don't have to work anything in there. We're going to put 2 single crochets in this last stitch. So that was 1, and now we're turning the corner, so we're putting 2 in there. And that is going to count as our first stitch on this side. I'm turning this way now, working on these rows here, and so that's 1 already. So now I'm going to count. Basically, wherever your hook fits is where you're going to crochet. So go in to where it fits, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2. So that's our second stitch on this side. Okay, wherever your hook fits, go in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. That's my third stitch on this side. Here's my fourth stitch. And let's see here, they'll fit right here. Here's number 5. Here's number 6. You gotta spread these out because we want to make sure that we can get 18 stitches in total. Here's 7. And 8. Here's 9. Whoops. There we go. And 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Okay, one more here. 18. Okay, so there should be 18 up this side. And now we can go on to this bottom edge, our foundation row. So I'm turning this upside down like this. And we are going to put 2 single crochets in this first stitch right here to turn the corner. 1 and 2. So I guess this side will have 19 actually, because that counts as a stitch. There. So that's 19. If you have 18 or 19, does not matter really. Then that was one on the side, so now next chain right here. And also there's my straggler, my loose end. I'm gonna crochet over the top of that so I don't have to sew it in later. How easy. So we're just gonna single crochet in each stitch, and then in the next corner I'm just gonna put 2 single crochets and then work up the side. Once I finish crocheting around this whole piece, I'll meet you up and we'll go on to the next step together. Alright, when you're finished single crocheting around the whole square, we are going to slip stitch to the first single crochet. So right in here, go in, yarn over, pull through, and pull through. And now we can fasten this square off. So chain 1 and grab your scissors, and then cut your yarn, and then pull that all the way through. Pull that tight, and if you want to, you can sew in that end. But what I want to show you now is to instruct you actually to make 9 of these in total. Okay, so you want to rewind this and make 9 more of these, or I'm sorry, 8 more of these squares. We have 1 done already. Okay, so I have, excuse me, a bunch of these done already. I did 4 of them in the Soft Essentials Jungle Stripe. Okay, I have 4 of these done in that. And then I did 5 of these. Here's my 5th one. I did 5 of these in the Soft Essentials Minty color. Okay, so you want to do 5 of one color and 4 of the other color because we're going to make a cool design with this. So what we need to do is lay this out, and this is how it's going to look. So we're going to put our Minty in the corner. Okay, we're going to put the Jungle Stripes one next to it and this one next to that, just like that. We're going to put a Minty in the center of our big square. So the Minties are going to be in the corners, and the Jungle Stripes are going to be around that. Okay, so this is how it's going to look, just like that. Okay, so you want to lay them out. Once you have all 9 of your squares finished, okay, we're just repeating that pattern for that one square that I showed you. We're going to repeat that for all of these squares, okay? The cool thing about these jungle stripes are that they are variegated yarn, just changes the colors and gives it a really cool design. So that's for the jungle stripe color. This is the Minty color. We're making 5 of one color and 4 of the other color. If you wanted to, you can make these all different colors, or you can make these all just one solid color. Totally up to you. But I'm just using the 2 colors. So that is how it should look, okay? And you can see in the photos and right here, right now, how it should look. We're going to sew these up in these little seams here, 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 and here, and then we're going to border around this entire piece. So what we're going to do, I'm going to set these 3 aside, and we are going to seam up these like this. So we're on the right side, we're looking at the top of our blanket here. We're going to fold these ones over like this, and this over like that. And we're going to sew these using a whip stitch all the way across here, and we're going to sew it with Minty yarn. So grab your yarn needle and your Minty yarn, yarn your needle with that. Okay, grab your 2 of your squares here. Let's start on this side, and we're going to be using a lot of yarn here. So I'm going to grab all the yarn. All the yarn. Here we go. There we go. Alright. Now, to whip stitch, what we're going to do is line these up. Okay. Go in from one square, like this, out the other layer of square right here. Okay. And then pull back all the way, as much yarn as you want, just like that. And then go back around to this square, and up through this square in each stitch across here, and then just pull and pull. Okay, and then keep doing that. This is called a whip stitch. If you want to, you can mattress stitch this, or you can single crochet attaching. Actually, when I made the 365 Days of Granny Squares last year, I shared a video tutorial on how to attach squares, and there's different techniques on how you can attach squares. So there's a whip stitch technique, there's the mattress stitch technique, there's the single crochet technique, the slip stitch technique, and the granny stitch technique. And there's many other techniques you can use to attach squares, but I'm just doing the whip stitch in this square, in this pattern today for this baby blanket, but you can attach these squares however you'd like. So I'm just going to do that all the way across here. Once I get to my next square, I'll show you how to go on to attaching the next 2 squares, and then across this whole row. And then I'll show you how to fasten this part off, and we can go on to attaching the other squares. So just do that across here. See, I'll just show you up until, or I'm going to do this part off camera, and then I'll meet up with you when I get to this intersection here. Alright, when you're finished getting to one intersection here where we want to attach these next 2 squares, all you have to do is just continue on just like you would with this square. So we want to start at the first stitch on this side right here, okay, and then going up through this corner right here on this square, and just going through both layers and just continuing the sewing technique. Okay, so we're just going to go pull that tight though, just so that they are butt up against each other, and then going up through this stitch next and this stitch here, and just going through both of the layers and continuing on just like that. Okay, so I'm just going to do that then all the way across here. So I have this square to do across here, and then adding these 2 squares here. Just make sure that your squares are in the correct form here, so make sure that you flip them onto each other like that. Okay, and we have these 3 here. So I have already these 2 attached, so I'm going to attach these 2, connecting them to these 2 here, and then when I'm about to fasten this line off, I will meet you back up, and then we'll go on to the next step. Alright, so I came back to the end here, and now I want to fasten this off, so we're just going to go through these last 2 stitches just like this, and then I'm going to hold my thumb into that loop, and I'm going to pull this all the way. Okay, but leaving my thumb in there, I'm going to put my needle back through that loop, just like that, and then pull tight, and remove my thumb, and then pull that, just like that. So that creates a knot, and you can do that once or twice, just going underneath some stitches, keeping your thumb in the loop, okay, and then come back around with your needle through that loop, and then pull tight. Just like that. And then we can cut this shorter here, and we can take that end and yarn our needle with that loose end there, and just go back through some of these stitches and sew this end in underneath our stitches so that that is hidden. Okay, and you can even go back and forth to really secure it tight. Just like that. Stretch it out, and then cut any extra you may have. Okay. And then on this side, we have this end, which is actually attached to the ball of yarn, so I'm going to cut that short. I'm going to grab my yarn needle and do the same thing to tie this off. So we're going to go underneath some of these stitches, just like that. Hold that on your thumb, and then come back around through that loop, and then pull tight, and again going underneath those stitches, and then coming back around and pulling tight. Okay, so that's knotted off, and then we can sew in this end as well. So just going underneath some of these stitches, just like that, and then coming back through some of them, just like that, and then stretch it out and cut this little extra piece. There we go, and there we have that attached now. Okay, so those 3 pieces are attached, actually 6 pieces because we've attached them like this. Okay, so now what we need to do is attach the other row here. So we have this square to go here, this square to go here, and this square, oops, nope, like this. We're gonna attach these 3 squares like this. Okay, it really doesn't matter which side you want to attach them. They're same side, same design on both sides, I guess. So I'm just gonna attach them like that. Same concept though. I'm folding these over these ones. Oops. Folding this over this one and folding this over this one. Okay, and then grabbing the yarn and the yarn needle. Okay, starting at one end here and just whip stitching this all the way across. Okay, when I then actually it's the same concept too. So I'm gonna sew across here exactly how I just showed you when we sewed these pieces across. And then what I'm going to do when I have all these sewn across here, we're going to actually open this all the way up like that. And then we're going to turn everything this way, okay, and then we're just going to flip these up and sew across here, and then flip these down over here, and sew this across here and this across here. So we're sewing it all together using that whip stitch like I just showed you attaching these, okay, so we just attached those. And then you want to make sure you just fold it over like that and sew across, okay? You can see the photos and you can see the description and the written pattern and all that stuff. It'll show the information on what type of stitch to do. Just rewind this and see how we attached them and how you should attach them using the photos as a guide to attach. I'm not going to make you watch me do all the attaching because it is a lot. So good luck, and I will untangle this now because now I was demonstrating and it's all tangled. So I'm going to untangle this and then sew this all the way across my piece, and once all 9 squares are completely attached, I'll meet you up and we will start making the lovely border of this blanket. I can't wait. So good luck, and I'll see you when all the squares are all attached using the whip stitch. Alright, so I just sewed up everything. So like I showed you, I sewed up each section here and this way also on the back here. I'll turn it around so you can see. You can't really see it very well, but I did whip stitch across here and then across up here and then down both sides here. So now all 9 pieces are all sewn together using that whip stitch using the color Minty, and so this is what your piece should look like. So once you're at this point, we can start making the border of this piece, which is going to look so fabulous. So we want to start in a corner, so right in here, and you can see here there it looks like there's 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3. We're going to start in that middle one right there. So I'm just going to go right in there, same hook, J size hook, and I'm going to start with the Jungle Stripes yarn. You can do whatever yarn you want, but I'm going to start with that, and we're just going to pull that through that stitch and then chain up 1. And in the same stitch that we just attached to in the corner, we're going to put 3 single crochets. So go in, yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Okay, again, go back in, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. And again, go in, yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So now there's 3 single crochets into that corner. And now on each stitch on the sides here, we are going to put 1 single crochet in each stitch. So go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. You can see I'm crocheting over the top of this straggler right here, so go into the next stitch. You can work over that straggler, that loose end there, because that way you won't have to sew it in later. Okay, so go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. We're just doing a simple single crochet round for this round, round 1 of the border. And then when we come back around, I'll meet you up and we'll go on to the second round of the border. Alright, going on to the next step. So what I ended up doing is single crocheting around here, and I'm not sure if I mentioned, make sure you put 3 single crochets in each corner. So you can see this corner over here, I put 3 single crochets right in there. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and then this next corner here, there's 3 single crochets, 1, 2, 3. So you want to make sure you have 3 single crochets in each corner and then 1 single crochet in each stitch on the sides. Okay, and this I'm not going to have stitch counts for this first round because, or for any of the rounds on the border, because you're probably going to have it much different than me, just because where your stitching goes. But that's okay, it's not going to matter at all. So now we're going to slip stitch to the first single crochet right here, go in, yarn over, pull through, and pull through. Okay, at this point, if you want to change color, you can fasten off here, and then we're going to start in a middle single crochet of a 3 single crochet grouping in a corner. So I'm not changing color at this point. I'm just going to slip stitch into the middle single crochet right in here, go in, yarn over, pull through, and pull through. Okay, and now what we're going to do is go on to round 2 of the border. We're going to chain up 3, 1, 2, and 3, and that's going to count as our first double crochet of this round. All right, and in the same stitch right here, we're going to make our corner stitching. So we're going to double crochet, so yarn over, go in to that same stitch, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through 2 loops. That's a regular double crochet. Now for the corner, we're going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and we're going to put 2 more double crochets in that same stitch. 1 and 2. Just like that. Now what we're actually going to do, if you don't want to do the crisscrossing stitching or anything, you can just double crochet in each stitch across, and that's totally cool. But what I'm actually going to do is make these crisscross stitches. So what we're going to do is yarn over, we're going to skip this next stitch right here, and we're going to double crochet into this next stitch. So go in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now, since we skipped that stitch right there, we're going to double crochet into that stitch, but we're going to work behind our work. So yarn over, go behind your work into the front of that stitch right there, going into it, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So now we've made a little X stitch or a little crisscross stitching there. And then we're just going to repeat that across until the next middle single crochet of the next corner. So skip the next stitch and double crochet into the next stitch. And then double crochet into the skipped stitch. So yarn over, go from behind your work. If you need to fold that forward, you can do that. And then go into that stitch we skipped. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over and pull through 2. Okay, skip the next stitch, double crochet in the next, and then double crochet in the skipped stitch. And like I said, do that until you get to the next corner. You know what, I'll do this one side, and then I'll meet you up at the next corner, and then that's the repeat, and then we can go on to finishing this round. Alright, so I had ended up at this next corner here, and you can see the 3 single crochet grouping right here. Our corner stitch needs to be in this stitch right here. So we have an extra stitch. If you don't have an extra stitch, awesome. If you do have an extra stitch, a random 1 stitch here, I'll show you what to do. We are going to do a crisscross stitch still, so skip this stitch, and I'm gonna go into the middle single crochet. Okay, if you have an even amount of stitches on your side, that's awesome, and you can just go on to making the corner, but I am going to do a crisscross stitch. Okay, again, nobody's going to notice this really. So we're going to double crochet into this next stitch and then double crochet back into the skipped stitch. And now we have to make the corner, but where are we going to put the corner? We're going to still put it in this stitch right here. And our corners are 2 double crochets. So actually there's going to be 5 stitches in that corner, but nobody's going to really notice that. So I'm putting 2 double crochets in there still. Then chain 2, and then 2 more double crochets in there. Okay, and that's the corners. So if you come up with a random extra stitch, you can always put your crisscross stitch into the corner and then just continue making your corner in there. If you had an even amount of stitches on the side and you don't have to put that crisscross stitch in the corner, just put 2 double crochet, chain 2, and 2 double crochet in your corner. And then we're just going to repeat what we were doing. So I'm going to go on this side now, skip the next stitch, double crochet in the next stitch, and then double crochet into this stitch that we skipped, and just continue working that all the way across here, or around this round, and then I will meet you up for the next round. Alright, so I'm just finishing round 2 of the border here. Just gonna make my last crisscross stitch here. And then we want to slip stitch to the first chain up 3. So right here, 1, 2, 3. Go into the top there, then yarn over and pull through, and then pull through. Okay, now we can go on to the next round here. I need to slip stitch, actually, okay, so if you're changing color, you want to just fasten off here and then start in a corner. But I am going to actually not change color, I just want to slip stitch into this stitch here, just like that, and then slip stitch into the corner, chain 2 space, just like that. And we're basically going to repeat the last round. So we're going to just repeat the last round for however long we want then. So chain up 3. Okay, now in this chain 2 space, we're going to make our corner. So we're going to put a double crochet, and then we're going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and then 2 more double crochets go in there. 1 and 2. Okay, so in the corners we're putting 2 double crochets, so this chain of 3 counts as a stitch, so 2 double crochet, chain 2, and 2 double crochet. And then we're going to do our crisscross stitching. So we're going to skip the next stitch and then double crochet in the next, and then double crochet in the skipped stitch, working behind our work here, just like that. Okay, and then just repeat. So skip the next stitch and double crochet in the next. Now I'm going to do this round and the next round, so round 3 and 4, in this jungle stripes color, and then rounds 5, 6, and 7 I'm going to do in the minty color, and then rounds 8, 9, and 10 back to this jungle stripes color. So I'm going to change color like every 3 rounds until I'm satisfied with the size. So you can do as many rounds of this as you want, and then once I am finished completely with this border, however wide I make it, I'll let you know, because I'm not quite sure what the sizing will be. You want your blanket to be 36 by 36, or you could make it 40 by 40, which is inches. 40 inches by 40 inches, or 36 inches by 36 inches. That is the size of a baby blanket, and all that information is in my written pattern, which is in the link in the description of this video on YARNutopia.com, so you can, follow along with measurements and get the written pattern for this. But I'm just going to continue working this crisscross stitching, and then just make sure you slip stitch to the first chain up 3 and then go on to the next round, just repeating, starting in a corner and working these crisscross stitches around. Make sure your corners in the chain 2 spaces, make sure you make a 2 double crochet, chain 2 and 2 double crochet in your chain 2 corner spaces for each round, and then make these crisscross stitches. So I'm just going to do that for however many rounds. Like I said though, I'm going to change color every 3 rounds, and once I'm satisfied with the size, I'll come back and let you know how many rounds I did, and then we'll go on to the next step together. Alright, I'm just finishing this section here, and now I'm going to slip stitch to the chain up 3 right here. Now I ended up doing 10 rounds of this crisscross stitch. So I'm just slip stitching there. I'm going to chain up 1 and I'm going to pull this hook out for a minute because I want to show you what I was doing off camera. So you can see here, this is what the design looks like. Okay, and I measured this out, it's about 30, almost 36 inches, and I just want to do one more round with you, but if you want to, you can fasten off at this point. This nice, lovely design with the crisscross stitches just really pops, and it's really beautiful. So off camera, what I ended up doing is 3 rows of this jungle stripes yarn, and then 3 rows of Minty, but then I was running out of the jungle stripes, so I ended up only doing 2 rows of the jungle stripe yarn, and I only have this much left out of that. And then these last 2 rows I did with the Minty, and I have a little bit left. I just want to finish off using the Minty, and I'm going to do a reverse single crochet round. If you want to do a regular single crochet round, you can do that, or you can just fasten off at this point and be done with this beautiful blanket. But I'm going to do one more round here, so grab your hook. Okay, so I chained up 1 here, and what we're going to do is a reverse single crochet. So again, another sort of new stitch that we have learned we've done actually a couple of reverse single crochets in the 365 Days of Granny Squares project, but what you have to do, instead of going to the next stitch and making a single crochet, we're going to do a reverse single crochet. So we're going to go to this previous stitch over here, so we're going to the right. Okay, so keep that loop on your hook, go into the right stitch over here, then yarn over and pull through. Okay, so we have 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Okay, then we're going to go to the next stitch over here on the right side, yarn over and pull through. So we have 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Okay, that is a reverse single crochet. So go to the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through 2. So although it is a single crochet, we're working onto the right side instead of going the counterclockwise. We're going clockwise. Okay, so it's a little bit different, and then it just gives a nice finished edge, nice finished look to the edging there. It looks really fabulous. So I'm just going to continue working that all the way around. Now in the corner, chain 2 spaces, so let's look at the corner here. We did in the corners, we have 2 double crochet, chain 2 and 2 double crochet in all of our corners in each one, okay? And the next row after that makes a crisscross stitch over the 2 previous ones made. You can see that right there. We have a crisscross stitch over the double crochets in the corner, okay? So you can see these ones here are worked into these ones, okay? So these are our corners. Now when we are doing a reverse single crochet around, we're going to actually put 3 reverse single crochets into the corner chain 2 spaces, okay? So just going in and then yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, just working the opposite way. But in the chain 2 corner spaces, we're going to put 3 of these. Alright, so I'm going to do that all the way around. When I'm about to fasten this round off, we will meet up, we'll fasten off together, sew in some ends, and enjoy our baby blanket. Alright, just finishing single crocheting reverse all the way around here. I'm in my last corner here, so like I said, we're putting 3 of these reverse single crochets in the corner. So there's 1, go back in for a second, and a third. Okay, reverse single crochet. Then don't forget this stitch right here, and this first stitch right here. Okay, and then to fasten this off, we need to slip stitch to the first one. So to do that, you want to be able to find it right here. I removed my hook from that loop there because I'm going to try and stretch this stitch out so you can see exactly where you need to go. There we go, right in there. Okay, so I'm going to have the loop on my hook. We're going to go underneath this next stitch to the right there. That's our first reverse single crochet. Yarn over and pull through everything. Okay, and that's a slip stitch. And now we can fasten off our blanket. So chain 1, cut your yarn, pull that all the way through, pull it tight, and then grab your yarn needle and sew in any loose ends that you have on your blanket, just to clean everything up and hide your ends. I'm just going underneath with my yarn needle, just yarned my needle with that little straggler there, and I'm just going to go underneath some of these stitches back and forth, and then we can be done with the Woven Dreams baby blanket. How fabulous! I think any baby is just going to absolutely love this. It's so soft, it is so heavy, it is so beautiful. So there it is. Thank you so much for watching and learning how to make this blanket with me today. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I hope you did too. Make sure to subscribe to my channel here on YouTube and like my video as well, and share my video with your crochet friends so that they can make a baby blanket just like this as well. I am going to go enjoy this baby blanket, gift it to somebody who is very deserving of this. So beautiful. So make sure, like I said, subscribe to my channel and share this video, like this video, and follow me on Facebook and Instagram. And if you make this, please hashtag YARNutopia so I can see your work. Share it with me on the Facebook page. It is so soft. I love it. So happy hooking, everyone. Bye.